Messi Co, Breaking Major League en la ciudad del sol. Here in Miami, we know who's el campeón. Leo my team, yeah. Suárez on the field, Alex wedding day team. Con mis fechas un win, the trio of Fabi singing muchachos. Las familias se escuchan los barrios. Esta camiseta pinky la llevan todos los guachos. Los rookies quedan sin comentarios. Messi ambetea, tiki-taki gol. El estadio Chase bañado en gloria y sudor. Aquí se ama y se respeta el balón. Florida es tu casa, acostúmbrate al calor. Estate listo pa' Messi Co. Estate listo pa' Messi Co.
Hello everybody, and welcome to a live episode of Messi Co. I'm Ashley here with Gian, and just checking in on a nice Monday afternoon after a few matches to discuss, what's been going on with Inter Miami, with Messi, etc. But before we get into that, how we doing, Gian?
I'm doing good. I'm happy that we're here. Happy to talk about Inter Miami and happy to chat with everybody that is going to get on. I don't know. I'm excited. I feel like this is going to be one of those episodes where we just, let's play it by ear, see what happens. Let's just feed off of what chat wants to talk about. It's a lot to talk about. I think it's been a couple of games since we've been on, so it's always nice to see your face, Ash, and to be here with everybody. But I'm doing great.
Okay, good. Yeah, I agree. It's been a whirlwind of Inter Miami matches and performances. We've seen like the best and then the not so best, and we're seeing Messi playing right now. Obviously, like he has 41 or 42 goal contributions this season in MLS alone for Inter Miami. Got 3 more assists at the game on Saturday. And just, I don't know what to think of this Inter Miami team because like I said, we're seeing the best and we're seeing the worst. So I'm just I guess we're along for the ride.
Yeah, yeah. Look, so we made it to the Leagues Cup final, and after the Leagues, like obviously, we lost in the Leagues Cup. But then we come out of there, and that was just a really tough loss, 3-0 to Seattle. We come out of that, and we lose again back to back 3-0. Then we come back and we beat Seattle 3-1. We beat DC United 3-2. We absolutely whooped New York City 4-0, and we feel like we're flying. We feel like this team is just like they're gelling, they're playing at the top of their game. Messi's playing amazing, and we're like, okay, we're ready. This is it. We're going into the MLS playoffs. We're a few games away, and this team has finally come together at the right time. And then just when we're feeling good and excited about this team, they faced Toronto, which is not a good team, even though they were, they were. I think they were ninth place at the time, and they were fighting for that last position to go to the playoffs. I think it was that ninth seed, but still, they were not a team that we should have really been worried about, and they had a really tough time against that Toronto team. But we waved it off. They've had a lot of games. They're tired. Then they go and they come back at home and they play against Chicago and they absolutely get demolished 5-3. Awful. 5 goals at home, unexcusable. They played poorly. Everybody looked bad. Even though they did look like they had a chance to come back, but it just looked bad all across. And we're like, okay, what the heck is going on with this team? You have one week this team looks amazing, and the next week the team looks absolutely awful. And then they come back and they beat New England 4-1.
Yeah,
So
no, I
it's like they
mean,
have us from one side of the spectrum to the other.
yeah, 100%. I mean, agreed that, the team was in really good form, obviously, for a few of those matches. And we were thinking, you know, this team is heating up at the right time. And then I think the Toronto game, you first of all, Sean Johnson, their goalkeeper was like phenomenal and had, like a Gigi Buffon type game where
Yeah.
I think Inter Miami and would score and Messi would score more on a different day. So I was like, "Oh, that's okay, the performance, whatever." And then Chicago, I was at the game and I was texting with you. It was just it was such a disaster class, and honestly, a lot of the pressure, and he took responsibility for it, but still, like, the coaching decisions in that match in terms of the style of play and the personnel choices was so poor, and, this team was a team that they were if they won out, like, if they were trying to win and they were trying to secure their best position, and I know it was a lot of games in the last couple of weeks, and there's some tired legs, but to change 3 of your 4 defenders to play in a system that didn't suit your team, you just got completely exposed and killed by Chicago, and it was a home match, like, where you're trying to build momentum and get this team ready for the playoffs. I know he explained that he made the mistake and then, he did a better lineup obviously this weekend, and he made the changes in the second half of that game, which is how we even almost came close to getting back to Chicago, but I thought it was just like a coaching thing that did not bring me any ease or feeling of, "Oh, he's gonna, be able to handle the playoffs and handle that." I just thought it was so many wrong choices, and it honestly, it worried me. It still does kind of worry me a little bit.
Yeah, no, as a reminder, that back line ended up being for that Chicago game, it was Chelo Weigand, Tomás Áviles, Lujan, and Jordi Alba. So basically, three out of the usual starters for that defense was out. And then you basically had in the midfield, you had Rodrigo de Paul, Yannick Bright, Busquets, and Tadeo, Velasco Segovia, and then Messi and Suarez up top. And I thought that that was strange. I think that usually when you know, we have to understand that obviously this team has played a lot of games in such a short amount of time, and I think that Macherano is really trying to figure out a way that he can stay competitive, but while still finding rest in the moments that he can for different players. But I think it's not something that's very usual where you take three players out in the back line. So
And
that
change
was
your
kind of strange.
formation is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it was weird. And then you also didn't have Tadeo Allende playing in there, and as much as we've faulted him in the past for maybe not taking care of the opportunities that he's given, the chances that he gets, he's the lone guy on this team other than Messi that makes runs into space and that is able to get those opportunities. But you have the Paul, Yannick Bright, and Busquets, none of those do that. And then Talasco Segovia, while he can score from outside the box, he's not a guy that's making a run into space. And Messi, because of a lack of attack in that formation and that lineup, Messi was very involved in bringing the ball up. There was no reference point up front, so it was weird. But look, Ash, they've played 9 games in the last 27 days. That's incredible, and I think that sometimes when I want to be, you know, emotional and maybe have these thoughts of what the hell is going on with this team, it's also like wondering how much of this up and down performance has to do with just exhaustion, because 9 games in 27 days is crazy.
Yeah. No, it is. It has been the exhaustion for sure matters, and uh, I even though Messi he had like I said, the 3 assists in this match against New England, and we saw a much better product. Just looks so exhausted. Like you can see that there's a lot of matches and the wear and tear for sure is coming. But now there's a week until the next match, and then we have 2 matches left, and then it's the playoffs, and that's when you have to turn it back on.
Yeah, yeah, and right now, actually, we are in third place in the East.
Hmm.
So we're third place in the wait, no, we're not in third place. We are, hold on, let me double check right here. We are third place. I just had this up front in front of me. Yeah, we are third place in the East. We've got Philadelphia, who ended up winning the Supporters Shield, and then Cincinnati in second place. And then we are in third with 1 game in hand. So we actually have 2 games left to play, and we have 59 points, and we have Charlotte and New York right behind us. So the last couple of games that we have are still really important, because if we drop any points, you have Charlotte and New York City that can both jump ahead of us, and we can basically lose out on home field advantage. So
Yeah.
those are going to be 2 important matches coming up for us, which are actually going to be against Atlanta United and against Nashville. So I think that those are going to be some important games for us. Nashville right now in 6th place, and then you have Atlanta that is currently in where is Atlanta right now? They're in 14th. So Atlanta United maybe obviously the easier game, but Nashville is not,
We
it's
said
not
that last
anything.
year.
Yeah, that's true too.
And it
That's
didn't
true
work
too.
out for us, yeah. Well, and Messi and DePaul, are at with the Argentina national team. They just a picture came out of them about an hour or 2 ago, I think. Um, and so they're not gonna be at the game on Saturday. So
There's a few. I think Fafa has also been called up. You have Noah Allen that's playing with Greece, and I'm not sure who else is going to be out right now. So we've got a couple of guys that are going to be out for the next game. Um, I just, I just know that obviously you don't want, even though this is a friendly, I think that Messi's going to want to get some playing time with Argentina, but I think it's of the utmost importance him going now 2 games away from the playoffs. That you know, I mean, fingers crossed here that nothing happens to him.
maybe,
So
and I think maybe he needs like it's a good mental boost, to be. I mean, look, the games are in the States for Argentina. He is not traveling far. And you know, change of scenery sometimes helps and re-energizes and refuels. I obviously wish he was going to be there for the game on Saturday, but like I said, Inter Miami have had 7 matches in 21 days, and then what you said, like 9 and 27 or something like that. So this team is just exhausted. Obviously the final didn't work out how we wanted to, and we've been in the Club World Cup, we've been in Leagues Cup, all these tournaments. It's been a long season. It's been a difficult season for the team. Missed out on, like we said in the beginning of the season, up for 4 trophies so far. Missed out on 3 of them. I think it's probably a tough place. Your best friend is one of your best friends and teammates is retiring. Um, we don't know what's gonna happen with Jordi Alba. We don't know what's gonna happen with Suarez. So again, I think it's just maybe it's good to be able to have the couple days away, be with your national team friends, obviously in an environment that has been really positive these last few years, and then comes back ready to go, and maybe this team can really make a run.
yeah, and if you're in Miami, you're actually going to be able to go to the game. The Argentina Venezuela game is going to be in the Hard Rock Stadium, so it won't be in the Chase Stadium where Inter Miami usually plays. It'll be in Hard Rock Stadium, which is
Who's the
obviously a
second
much larger
game?
venue. The
The
second game is
second
going to be against Puerto Rico, and that's going to be at Soldier Field.
in
So,
Chicago, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that'll be at Soldier Field in Chicago, and who knows? Maybe there'll be a surprise of Bad Bunny concert in halftime at Soldier Field. Who knows? Puerto Rico. I didn't even honestly. I haven't. Have you ever watched the
That'd be
Puerto
cool.
Rican like soccer game? I don't. I don't even know what to expect. Honestly,
I
from Puerto
haven't,
Rico,
no.
but it'll be a party for sure. I think that anytime you have Argentina playing anywhere in the United States, you're gonna have a full crowd come out. A lot of Argentinians, even people that don't. It's just like when Messi anywhere Messi plays, whether it's here in Miami or whether it's in New York or it's in LA, you're gonna have a lot of Messi fans. So that's gonna be a fun time. Venezuela always brings out a lot of fans too, as well. A lot of Venezuelans here in South Florida. And then Puerto Ricans is obviously there's a lot in New York, but in Chicago, I think there's a good group of them too. So I think that it'll be a packed house for both games, and I think it'll be fun to see. I don't know how much Messi's going to play against Puerto Rico. I would imagine that if they're not going to want him to play an incredible amount of minutes in 2 games, so he'll probably get the bulk against Venezuela, I would assume, and then he may make an appearance against Puerto Rico, um, which would be the second game. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be important to note.
I mean, it needs to be because and again, just harping back to the match on last Tuesday. First of all, you're like it was a Tuesday, the stadium didn't really fill out, and it was such a bad performance, and honestly, I felt like I was watching Messi and others, like, drain, like, the energy and the goodness drain, and, oh, I could spend hours talking about what a problem it was, but what I will say is one of the solutions that we saw in this match Saturday, and first comment about, of that is that we saw uh, Rios Novo in goal instead of Ustari, and one of the problems that I had on Tuesday was, like I said, it was a bad setup, it was bad personnel, etc. but I could think of at least 2 of the 5 goals. I watched Ustadi be like an absolute statue. Didn't move, didn't go for the ball, and just wasn't, being the young, exciting goalkeeper that was clearing his lines and doing what we needed. And so obviously we saw Rocco in this match. He had a couple good saves and just brought an energy to the back line that I like. So I thought this was a good comment. Ustadi has had good moments for us this season, has had good saves, no doubt. But just recently, like the age, I feel like is more noticeable, and he's just been very like like a statue. And we need more from everyone on the team in order to be able to really compete.
Well, they brought him in supposedly for his footwork, right? And that was one of the biggest gripes about Drake Calendar's game is his inability to really play out of the back anytime that he had the ball at his feet and he was, the opposite, the opponent was pressing high up. There would be some issues there, and they went for somebody who they thought could probably alleviate that. The thing is, I mean, you won Leagues Cup because of the saves that Drake Callender had. He was in the voting to be goalkeeper of the year. Like he's a guy that you could use a lot of times here that would probably get, you may not have the footwork, but you probably would have gotten a lot of saves that you're not getting with Ustadi. And that's something at the end of the day that a lot of people I think are noticing now. I think many knew, but there are a lot of people actually noticing and fans noticing now that maybe that wasn't the right decision to bring in Ustadi. Maybe it wasn't the right decision to let Drake Callender go. And you definitely miss his gloves guarding Inter Miami's goal. So yeah, I have to agree with you. There are a lot of times where I'm like, yeah, Mustari should have saved that. Yeah, that was his post. He should have been, in the right spot. Yeah, it was like an inch from his fingertips. That's a goalkeeper thing. So
And
we'll
just
see.
like
Rocco,
being
he's
more
young.
active, and like keeping defenses, I don't know, scared. But yeah, so like we said, Rios Nova, I thought he had a good performance. And we saw a couple other good performances in the match. Let's talk about Rodrigo de Paul because we said it, we alluded to it in our last episode about like, oh, is the value there? I was a little bit more, I would say, on his side and being like, oh, he needs time, this, that, and the other. And then again, Tuesday, I thought he had a terrible game. He was responsible on his own for one of the goals, maybe two. And I was starting to see like, it's been enough time where you got to show that you're a DP, that you're worth 17 million. You got to make yourself known. And then I thought in this game Saturday against New England, he did that. I noticed from minute 1, he was absolutely everywhere on the field. He he did so many great moments of stealing the ball, of making a pass, of being an enforcer, of doing, a foul that was needed or getting a setup or being in the defensive end when needed, being attacking when needed, just like was an absolute motor, obviously, and was like a pure classic Rodrigo de Paul match, like a match that we've seen him do for Argentina and Atletico Madrid many times. I myself, just speaking for me, I really like the performance, and I'm like, if we get that performance and that energy during the playoffs, then we're talking.
Yeah, I think that any step in the right direction is good for the Paul. I've been one that's been more adamant about how I don't think he's worth the amount of money that would be needed to bring him on, 17 million-ish, and the fact that he'd take up a DP spot. And I don't think that's the primary issue, is not, that the role that the Bulls are going to be playing. So I think that if he had a good game this time, that's good for Inter Miami. I'm not one of those that is easily swayed or that forgets, that easily forgets about the past just because there's one good game. I think it's a step in the right direction, and hopefully he takes that momentum and keeps playing better. But Rodrigo de Paul is a guy that comes with a lot of pedigree. We've said it.
Yeah.
Comes from La Liga, third best team in Spain. Comes from winning a World Cup. Comes from playing with Messi all these years. You expect more from him, and I just hope that he continues to grow and into this role. And he figures it out. Macherano figures it out. If Macherano's here next season, but yeah, I mean, he had a good game finally, and I think it was about time. And I think that this team, for them to succeed, for them to do good in the playoffs, for them to win MLS Cup, they're gonna need a Rodrigo de Paul that looks more like the Rodrigo de Paul in Argentina than the Rodrigo de Paul that we've seen here since he's arrived. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, his midfield uh companion that he's going to be taking the spot of most likely next season is Sergio Busquets, and I we can talk about how, the lovely tribute that Inter Miami did because he obviously announced his retirement at the match Saturday. First of all, he comes off at around well, they start the game actually, let me start from the beginning, where he comes onto the pitch with the team and he has his 3 children with him, which was really nice. There was a lot of great signs in the crowd for him. And then he comes off at around, I don't know, maybe like the 78th minute or something when the game was won and got a really great round of applause. And then after the match, he gets a guard of honor. He walks out with all of his teammates lining the grass and gets a beautiful tribute video with the likes of, Andre Iniesta, you had Puyol, you had, Pep Guardiola, obviously Jordi, Suarez, and Messi with lovely messages for him. It was just a well-deserved, really nice moment for him, and I'm glad he got to be celebrated.
It's funny. I had people. It's crazy how people find anything, literally anything to complain about. I'm looking at the socials and people are like, why is Inter Miami celebrating a guy that's been there a season and a half or whatever?
'Cause he's one of
You
the
know,
best number 5s to ever
I
play in the history of
know.
the
I'm
sport,
like,
yeah.
you people can figure it out. You can find the most positive thing and you can find something negative about it, and it's incredible, dude. You're honoring an all-time great, a guy that obviously had most of his accomplishments, the silverware that he earned, the everything that he did in one club, Barcelona. But the fact that he took his talents and we were able to experience that and see that in person here for whatever amount of time, I think that's valuable, and I think that's something to celebrate. And I think that for Inter Miami, when you think about the future, you think about the long-term growth of this team, you want players, high caliber players to come here to play at your team. And I think one of the ways you show them that is by showing how you treat your players, how you respect your players, the things that you do. You don't think another player seeing this and seeing, wow, this Busquets only played a season and a half, and look how they treat him. Look at the honor that they do for him. I think that that's something good for this team. And at the end of the day, who cares if you don't think it's cool? You thought it was dumb. Most of the time, these are people that are haters. Inter Miami haters is what they are. The fans enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. Ash, you were there on the field, literally
Mhm.
watching this, steps away from Messi, steps away from Suarez, from Busquets. Like that's an experience that you're gonna cherish for the rest of your life, and that's
Yeah.
really amazing.
It was very cool, thank you. Yeah, and I mean, he's been here for 2.5 seasons, and I don't even think I can name on one full hand the amount of bad performances he's had. Like, up until I would say maybe a couple months ago where I would say he's starting to look a little bit more tired, he was especially the first 2 seasons, he was still like this gorgeous, footballer with the best composure and was able to orchestrate all these amazing passes and just be, an absolute rock. And Inter Miami,
You
yeah, again, we're very happy and lucky to have him because he still just brought so much class and amazing performances that we really will enjoy.
he since his arrival has been in top three, if not at times first, in minutes played on this team. Just it's
Never took time off, never
no,
really
like
got injured.
the consistency
Always
is just
played at a high
crazy.
level too. Like, can you think of how many times we've said, "Oh, you know what was the biggest problem today? Sergio Busquets was awful and he caused all these problems." We didn't. He was great. And so it was really lovely for him and his family, and we're gonna miss him. I'm glad we got to have him for this amount of time, and he's still, like we said, he still has 2 matches to go for Inter Miami and the playoffs. And I think, there's still more to do. On Saturday, he gave this amazing pass to Messi, who, like, unlike him, took an extra dribble and didn't end up scoring, and then tried to do one with the outside of his foot that just went outside of the goal. But it was after this phenomenal pass from Sergio that made it through like 4 defenders. He's still great. He's just ready.
No, the passes that Busquets, the vision that he has, the connection that he has with Messi is unlike anybody else on that team other than Jordi Alba, and they're just from obviously from two different angles. Jordi Alba has that connection with him down the left flank, places the ball into the middle, and Busquets is the only one on this team that can make the passes that he makes as Messi runs into space and connects with him. And we've seen countless goals like that, just amazing, amazing goals. And that's something that we're gonna miss, and that's something that if you're gonna pay someone $17 million for, you better hope you're getting that,
Yeah.
because that's the type of
Paul's gonna have to do that
that's
next
what
season.
we're sold. That's what the Paul is sold as is a player that has the caliber of a type of player like Busquets. And we were talking about the minutes a moment ago. Guess who leads Inter Miami in minutes in 2025? Sergio Busquets.
Yeah.
2,690 minutes played this season. Next closest is Jordi Alba with 305 minutes less than him. You're talking about
The most
just
consistent rock, yeah.
the most consistent guy across the board. And even in 2024, guess who it was? It was Calendar and then Busquets in second with
That's right.
2,400. So he's just not only is his play amazing, his reliability and his consistency for this club. And honestly, Ash, I don't think he needed to retire. Like
He could
game
have done
wise,
another
he could have
season. He could have done another I think he just was
100%.
done. He was still I mean, honestly, I don't know if he's gonna make the team of the season, like, in terms of all of MLS, but I mean, I won't say similarly to Messi because Messi is still in his own world, but, like, Sergio Busquets would make it on, especially in MLS, most starting 11s, he's still playing at a really high level and
I
you
think
don't have any
every
complaints.
I think every team, he'd make every team. He's
Yeah.
incredible. He is absolutely incredible. And now he's decided that he's going to retire. He said that he's going to take about a year and a half off, hang out with his family, be there
Yeah.
for just take time for himself. And I think that after this, so many years of the hustle and bustle, the grind, and all that, I think it's going to do him well. But that's not the last time we're going to see him on the pitch. He said
No.
that he's going to go out and try to get his coaching license, and he's going to coach, and we'll see where that ends up.
He'll
Whether
be
it's
if
here in
he's
Miami
half the coach of the if
or
he's half a coach as he was a player, then
yeah.
I'll take him.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So we'll see him again. But until now, like you said, Ash, two more games in MLS play, and then obviously as far as we can get in the MLS playoffs. So there's still some time to enjoy him.
100%. So, yeah, it was lovely for him, and then we can talk about the other part of, the Barcelona boys, one of the other part, which is Jordi Alba, who,
Yeah,
had a monster performance on Saturday. I mean, he maybe again, similarly to Busquets, yeah, maybe a couple games in the middle where it was this, that, and the other. I feel like I keep saying that expression, but anyway, he scored 2 gorgeous goals and was just so active and ready, and he's basically playing as a winger, when you have Noah Allen in the starting team and you have your defense, Ian Frey, who's been great, you have Falcon, etcetera. He's basically playing almost as like a winger, and he's so good. Like Jordi Alba is still so good. Like, newsflash, he's still really good, and we saw that in full effect on Saturday. Another time I'll say, if we get something like that, we're in good shape for, moving forward.
and I mean, just like Busquets, Jordi Alba is key, 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 key to this team. He actually had the highest SOFA score on the team, actually beating Messi, which is pretty crazy. Messi
I
had a
mean,
not
the goals he scored were great.
No, incredible. Messi had a 9.1 SOFA score. Jordi Alba had a 9.3. His heat map obviously is just it's a little bit past the midpoint line on the opponent's side and on the left flank. And what he was able to do on that left flank is not only able to make the passes, but able to score. And like you said, he's a lot of times he's basically the winger on the left. I mean, you don't have anybody else that plays that position. Usually, Inter Miami, when they attack, they're playing with basically three center backs at times, sometimes just two. When you have Ian Frey in there, Cello, not so much. When Cello's back there, it's a back line of three. But You look at that, if you pay attention to that front line, it's usually going to be Tadeo Allende up top on the right or heading to the middle. And then you have Jordi Alba on that left too. We've seen Jordi Alba make a run into space, and his ability to finish a shot. I mean, he's been doing that his whole career, like
Mhm.
getting into the area and being able to shoot like a strike. He's basically like another striker at times. So Jordi Alba is incredible, and he had a great game. And the crazy thing about it is, Busquets is leaving, but now there's been rumors that Jordi Alba is going to leave as well. Supposedly, he is going to cancel his contract, even though he just signed an extension so that he can
Yeah,
head into
yeah.
Spain. I don't give that much
I don't
merit,
either.
honestly, and I know where it came from. It came from a Argentine reporter that walks the halls at Chase Stadium, and him and his group. I think that they're good reporters. They're honest and trustworthy. But the way they got this information is more, they heard it. They said somebody
Yeah.
kind of let it escape, and I don't know because nobody else has really reported it, and it doesn't make any sense. So I don't think
It
it's
makes
gonna
no
happen.
with the contract extension, it makes no sense to me. And we saw, I think Fabrizio put out that Inter Miami are close to signing Sergio Reguilon. I should know his name. He played for Tottenham
He's
for a
a
long
he's a
time.
left back.
He's a
I
left
don't.
back, so that's why people were like, "Oh, see, it's just that's why like Jordy's leaving and then you know, Reguilon is going to take his place." I don't know with the contract extension. And we know obviously Messi also is gonna be extending, or has extended, we just wasn't made public yet. Um, I don't think he's gonna be leaving at this season, and I hope he doesn't because he's been playing at a really high level, and he still is, like we said, a very good high caliber left back, probably, like, again, would make many teams starting left back, so, no complaints there.
Yeah, he just signed in May. So, and he signed through 2027, Jordi Alba. So none of it makes sense. I think sometimes you can hear things through the grapevine, and you also have to add the context around it and see what's going on. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not worried that Jordi Alba is leaving.
Alessio saying, that if Miami finishes third, you still have to beat Cincy, Philly, Vancouver. It's a lot. I agree. LAFC. Yeah, that's my worst nightmare, honestly, if we end up playing LAFC in the not really, because obviously I'm an Inter Miami fan first and foremost, but I do love Human Son as a Tottenham fan. So, I'm happy he's doing so well. But I just want to address this comment and say, look, if Inter Miami, like we said, if I just name the players, if Lionel Messi, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, Rodrigo de Paul are all playing at a super high level. Luis Suarez, like the 2 goals he scored against Chicago. If we see those players playing at the high level, I'll take us for versus anyone, honestly. Like if everyone's at their peak performance, I'm still taking Messi over, over whoever you have. I still mean that even with the ups and downs of the season. If we have everyone playing at the top level and with the addition of Rodrigo de Paul, you know, I'll take us. I think it'll be a really fun playoffs and something that I would be excited to see.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. When you see this team and they're at their best,
And
I don't think you take anybody over them. That's the biggest thing. And the thing is that you need that. You need a team that can be consistent and that can play at their best. This team has so many ups and downs that you're not sure what team you're going to get heading into the playoffs. And we've seen it as we saw last season, MLS Supporters Shield champs, and then they got bounced. How much can you put on that? It's like, look, I think with this Inter Miami team, you're never 100% sure. But what you are sure is that if they're at the top of their game, they can make it to the end. So it just really depends on what type of team are we going to see heading into the playoffs. Are you going to see the type of team that you know comes out after Leagues Cup and losing to Charlotte and then just comes back and starts just absolutely dominating teams? Or are you going to see the team that comes back and draws 1-1 against Toronto and then gets scored on 5 times by Chicago at home? Two different teams. One won't make it, the other's going to make it to the final and win the championship. So
but how do
it's,
you so
it's
here's my question for you. Also, yeah, I'll say quickly, Suarez, he didn't have a great he didn't have that great of a game on Saturday, But thinking about Tuesday, he had those 2 goals, and, when Allende is playing and is actually able to score, I feel good. I feel better about it. I will say though, just kind of as we wind down the show and get ready to finish, compared to last season when we ended the season getting into the playoffs, how do you feel about the team's ceiling now compared to last year? Um, and if you want me to go first, I can go first if you wanna think about it for a little, or if you wanna go.
I think we had a better team last season than we do this
Really?
season. Yeah, I think we do. The ball to me hasn't done any. It really hasn't impacted this team in a way that you'd say it's better than last season. I think if you compare this team to last season's team, you had Diego Gomez, which to me it makes a world of a difference. Diego
Mhm.
Gomez, he's sorely missed on this team, and you had weapons. I think that you really utilized a lot. And some look, I'm one that always spoke for Gressel because I thought that Gressel was a guy that you can plug and play anywhere on the pitch, and maybe he wasn't the best at that position, but he was a guy that you can rely on. And we saw his ability to place centers into the area, beautiful centers that really helped us in the attack. That's one guy we missed. Like I said, Diego Gomez. I mean, the guy goes and is playing in England, in Brighton, playing very well, playing in Paraguay, missed. Those are players that, and then you had also Robert Taylor. You don't have anybody on the left right now that has that ability that Robert Taylor had. So there are guys that were a lot better, I think, than this season. Um, so the ceiling, I think, was higher for last season's team. This team, I'm not 100% sure on them right now. I don't know how I like I said, how high they can get is depends on if they're what Inter Miami team we're getting. We have two teams. One
Yeah.
that loses 5-3 again at home, and one that looks like they can beat anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think we had, but I will say, although we had
And
maybe
Drake
better,
Callender, sorry, we had Drake Callender.
we
Sorry.
had higher caliber players last season, though. This season, I feel like again, I feel when the team is consistent and everyone is firing, I feel I feel strongly about them. I feel good about them. I think the addition of Baltasar Rodriguez, like when he plays and he started on Saturday, I think he's been a really good addition. Um, Rodrigo de Paul, now we're gonna see, like, is he gonna be the difference maker in that playoff game? Because last year in the playoffs, we saw that we were missing that punch in the middle, and you still trust a Suarez or a Messi to be able to get the score and get the goal if they're in good service areas and if they have the space. Again, Messi, like I said, 42 goal contributions, is or I think 41 is insane still. And you wouldn't bet against him. I think that, Maxi Falcon has been a really good addition. I feel when him, Ian Frey, Alba, and Noah Allen, like I feel like that's a strong back line compared to last year where, like a Chelo, for example, I didn't feel very good about. Tomas Avilas, I didn't feel very good about. Um, Overall, coaching aside, I think I feel like this team can make a good run in the playoffs, like I said.
Yeah.
And it'll just be we'll wait and see. Like I would rather feel confident in the playoffs and feel like we can win than win the supporter shield.
Ash, what I will give you that's better this season than last season on this team, because I won't. Coaching last season was better. Goalkeeping was better last season. Midfield was better last season. Even attack was better last season. I think maybe you can say the defense is better. The attack was better last season. You had a Luis
More
Suarez that
options,
actually
yeah.
that ran more also. So, but what we do have this season that we didn't have last season is a better Messi. 100% a better Messi. You have a Messi
Healthier, yeah.
that has played more games, has been more available, more consistent. He's played 800 more than 800 plus more minutes and already than he did at the entirety of last season. He's got more goals than he did last season. He had 20, he has 24 so far now. He had 20 last season. He's got more assists. He's got 17 compared to 16 last season.
You should have like
You have
20.
a
We gave so many up to other people.
you have a better Messi. And that's the game changer. That is the key. That is what can take you over the top against any team in the league. So Whereas I think in a general sense, we had a better team last season. You have a better Messi this season, which is crazy to say, a year older. So that's the difference maker, really.
Yeah.
It's Messi, the best player in the world, best player in the league. And that's the guy that can get you over the top.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm excited. I mean, we'll have to see. We have 2 matches left in the regular season, and then it's playoffs time, and we will, of course, be there with you. I think we could probably wrap up today's episode, because I know you have to run. But, again, we've had pluses and minuses so far from the team. Yeah, again, no injury on Messi. Again, I mean, he was great last year, but this year, I mean, clear MVP, clearly the best player in the league by a lot, has been really consistent. Whenever he plays 90 minutes. It's just who he is, and he's just the goals he's scored, the goals he's assisted has been absolutely phenomenal, and now
Can
we
I
we
say
see it
something?
all come over. Yeah.
I want to say something on that. This is going to be a service announcement here. So,
Okay.
for you're talking about the MVP of the season. To me, and I think to many, clear as day, it's Messi.
Yeah.
It's by far Messi. The performance that he's had this season, from goals to goal contributions in general
Yeah.
to longevity, which was the biggest question last season. They didn't want to give it to him because of the fact that he had missed so much time. That excuse is out the door this season. But we have some reporters and some local reporters that follow Inter Miami and that cover Inter Miami that are trying so hard to be objective, so hard to be unbiased, that they share opinions like, I might vote for Buonga as the MVP of the season. And I'm like, sometimes you guys are trying so hard to be unbiased that
Yeah.
you
That you're
completely
becoming
go
biased.
again, like, you become biased and you try to prove that I may cover Inter Miami, but I'm open-minded and I can and it just becomes so apparent that you do become biased, and the things that you say, the way you say them, become anti-Inter Miami. So just be careful with that. Don't pretend, don't try. Messi is the MVP this season. There's no need for you to pretend that you're open-minded and it has to go to somewhere else and Buonga has a chance and this and that. Stop it. Drop the act. It's Messi, okay?
Messi
I
still is
just
the
want
one
to
who
put that out there.
controls the outcome of every match that he participates in, and as long as you have that ability, you're the MVP. Or it's the most valuable player. And look, Dennis Bouanga has had a great season, and he has been great for LAFC. There's no doubt. But if you're talking about who affects the game the most and who delivers the most, I mean, it was true last year, but it's hella true this year. Lionel Messi
Yeah,
is the best player in the league by a country mile, and so if as long as we have the MVP and we have him, I'll take our chances.
100%. Yeah, yeah. Until if he's on the pitch, we got a chance. So we're good.
Perfect, and I think that's where we can end it. This has been a great episode. Thanks for everyone who watched and participated. Like we said, we have 2 games ahead that we're excited about, and then we have the playoffs, which we're really excited about. So make sure you're tuned in, following Messi and Co on X, and then 5 Reasons Football on YouTube. We got to finish the season out together, and hopefully it's with that trophy we really want. So thank you again for watching for this episode of Messi and Co. I'm Ashley. That is Gian, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.